All right, thank y'all for your time today. My name is Katie Fullerton, and I'm here to share how my family has experienced AI chatbots. I'm an AI technologist, so I work with companies here in Atlanta to build their AI systems and deploy them in safe and secure ways. But I'm also a mother of two children in the DeKalb County public school system, and we've had some negative experiences with AI chatbots. In our school, like many of our schools, our kids use Chromebooks to access the curriculum and individualized learning apps. Our school subscribes to GoGuardian, which blocks non-educational content like YouTube, but no content blocking system is ever 100% safe or effective. Last school year, my fourth grader was granted free time on his computer after he finished his work, like a lot of kids are. Along with his friends, they found a Hunger Games themed chatbot, and they were really interested in Hunger Games, um, complete with branding and pictures and theming. And they started to have a conversation with it because they're kids and curious. And that quickly descended into sexualized content on the school network in fourth grade. And this wasn't blocked because of the nature of the website. Services like ChatGPT have these developer tools that allow developers to access these large language models for fractions of a penny with no oversight on where that content goes after it's produced by the model. There's a financial incentive for bad actor developers to perpetuate this harm to minors because every time a child looks at this website, they're getting ad revenue. And there's no mediation and there's no oversight to where that money is going or where those responses are coming from. The model outputs are wrapped in these very quick websites that can be put up and taken down rapidly to avoid detection and prosecution. There's no age verification, but they use kids' favorite characters and lots of ads, and they turn a huge profit on a daily basis. Unlike a book or a TV show, I'm not able to preview the content of these chatbots because they are generative AI. They're non-deterministic, so the answers that they give to each question or prompt are going to be different every time. That means that I, as a parent, don't have the ability to say, this is appropriate or inappropriate for my child at their stage of development. Instead, I'm forced to have conversations with my fourth grader about age inappropriate things because a chatbot developed by a company and then turned loose was allowed to speak to them. As was shared by Ms. Garcia earlier, children are not able to determine if these AIs are real people or not. Their brains are not developed enough yet to understand that. My children were only able to figure out that it was not Katniss talking back to them after I coached them through it. And I'm only able to do that because I understand the technology. Most parents don't have the skills, the understanding, and some parents don't ever have the opportunity to have those discussions with their children. So while AI technology has and will continue to benefit us in a lot of different ways in this state, if left unchecked like it currently is, it will continue to hurt our state's children and our nation's children. As a parent of a child who has already been harmed, I appreciate the work that you are doing on this community, and I urge you to continue working on it.
Question.
Yes.
So this was on a school issued
This is on a
computer.
school issued Chromebook. Yes.
At school.
At school. Yes. And the school responded appropriately and quickly. They shut it down. They notified the parents and they pulled the kids into the counselor's office to have a discussion. But the systems that are available to schools to block these websites can't address the pop-up, though it's like whack-a-mole, right? Every time you block one website, another one is created. Because accessing those models is so cheap, it's so profitable for people to create them. And the content, when the chatbot gives an answer, when OpenAI's chatbot, ChatGPT, gives an answer, the developer who sent that request has only paid a fraction of a penny. And then they put it up on a website and they get ad revenue from that website. There's no carry through of supervision. So OpenAI may have age restrictions, it may have guardrails, it may have a user agreement, but that user agreement can be violated by someone who is then displaying that to a child. And there's no mechanism for liability there, and there's no mechanism for oversight.
Yes, Senator Setzler.
Thanks for being here. What is the with your training and your work you do? I don't know that you have this could answer the specific question. The propensity to sort of go there on these sexualized topics. I mean, I know elementary school, middle school boys, they're gonna take it in any direction they can take
Yes.
it because it becomes a big laugh, right? Is there a um what is what is the difference between a system that tends to go there on sexualized things and those that don't? Or is there like a
Well,
firewall you say, hey, we're not going to go there? I mean,
that's
how does that work?
excellent question. So there are a couple tools that these companies like OpenAI and Google and Anthropic can use. One is called the system prompt. So this is the chunk of text ahead of any question that someone submits that says, you're a chatbot, answer politely, answer in English, use 3 to 4 sentences. It's the directions to the model. And so in that is where those companies insert their guardrails. And so that says things like, do not tell do not give answers on how to harm yourself. Do not give answers on how to build a bomb. Do not use sexually explicit content. And that is the primary mechanism that those companies are saying, well, this is how we're controlling it. Unfortunately, the way these models work is non-deterministic, which means you can't tell it, don't say this. As long as the information is somewhere in the model's training data set, which is the whole internet at this point, it might say something. And there's no way to control what it says unless you are screening the outputs and blocking those outputs that are inappropriate. You can steer it, and there are some models that have been tuned to be, especially the ones that are relationship based or the ones that are supposed to be therapists. Those are tuned to adjust to use that vocabulary to trend towards those type of topics. But overall, there's no real control of what the model is going to say.
So, I think about a Hunger Games themed chat, but I guess they took the first thing that comes to mind is they would have fed it all the Hunger Games models and maybe movies and whatever in there. So that's informed it. But you're saying it's also touching the entire internet.
Yes.
Um, so how does um, how does a person get a Game of Thrones themed chatbot to talk Game of Thrones ish, and another one to talk like Katniss or something like that? And how does all that happen? Is there not other signals than just look at everything that's on the internet that's being given?
So excellent question. There are 2 layers. Again, sorry, lots of layers here. One is that system prompt that I talked about. Those are direct instructions that you're giving to your model about how to behave. So it would say things like, your audience is fans of the books, The Hunger Games. The other is a process called fine tuning. And so these models are trained, they're fed the whole internet, and they build the statistical associations between words. And then a layer on top of that is fine tuning. And that's where you feed it a specific corpus of data that you wanted to emphasize. And so in this case, it would be the Game of Thrones corpus, including, books, show scripts, fan fiction, notes, Reddit posts, all of that focused on Game of Thrones. And so it would build that context, and it's going to use that preferentially, that vocabulary preferentially. And then you do the same thing with the Hunger Games and so on. And so it's an additional layer almost of what the model is going to reference first, and then it's going to go down into its base training.
But in terms of cost to deploy, feeding in every bit of fan fiction in the history of Game of Thrones and their episodes, an AI can process that
In seconds.
seconds.
Yep. And that tuning can be done by anyone with an AWS account or a Google account or an Azure developer account. So someone with basic software engineering skills.
In your understanding of this, and I don't ask you legal questions you don't feel comfortable to ask, is from your vantage point as a person in the industry, how are the purveyors of these large language models to put these out there? Are they framing this legally as, hey, this is just protected speech? This is, we're not a forum. This has got Section 230 protections. How do you understand that?
My understanding is that when you sign that, and when you are using the model, you sign a user agreement that says, I won't use this model to hurt people. I won't use this model to infringe on copyright. I won't use this model to do all of the negative, nefarious things. But that is much like when you click on your iTunes user license, right? You scroll to the bottom and you click agree, and there's no enforcement at all. I have never seen any enforcement actions from those companies on end user violations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.